Parliament, other institutions recognized by concerned statutory bodies, Indian institutions of management, and other institutions set up by central state government. Interest rates. The interest rates charged on the educational loan shall be as per the BPLRG base rate of the individual banks and as per the provisions for interstates under the IBA Model Educational Loan Scheme. Moratorium period. Under the central scheme, the interest payable by the students belonging to EWS for availing of educational loan for technical professional courses in India for the period of moratorium. For example, course period plus 1 year or 6 months after getting job, whichever is earlier, as prescribed under the educational loan scheme for Indian education shall be borne by the Government of India. After the period of moratorium is over, the interest on outstanding loan amount shall be paid by the students in accordance with the provisions of the existing educational loan scheme of banks and as may be amended from time to time, whichever is earlier. Income limit proof. The benefits of the scheme would be applicable to those students belonging to economically weaker section with the annual gross parental family income upper limits of 4.5 lakhs rupees per year from all sources. Income from shall be required from the students from such public authorities which are authorized the state governments for certification of income status for this scheme, including central and state sector schemes. The discount scheme is intended to cater to the need for students belonging to economically weaker sections with prescribed upper parental gross income limit of the family from all sources, which is based on economic index and not on social background. The scheme is independent of any other schemes which may be catered to EWS. Competent authority. The Ministry of HRD, Government of India shall issue an advisory to all the state governments requesting them to designate appropriate other or authorities who are competent to issue income certificates based on economic index and not social background for the purpose of this scheme. The banks shall implement the scheme based on the notification of the certification authority by state governments communicated through district level consultative committees. Eligibility for interest subsidy. The interest subsidy under the scheme shall be available to the eligible students only once, either for the first undergraduate degree course or the first graduate degree diplomas in India. Interest subsidy shall, however, be admissible for integrated courses. Interest subsidy under this scheme shall not be available for those students once they discontinue the courses midstream or who are expelled from the institutions on disciplinary or academic grounds. However, the interest subsidy will be available only if the discontinuation was due to medical grounds for which necessary documentation to the satisfaction of the head of educational institution will have to be given. There would be a tag marker on the degree of students indicating his repayment liabilities. Electronic tags will enable employers to identify learners. The Ministry of HRD has initiated a proposal to dematerialize the educational awards certificate setting up of depository for maintaining the records in dematerialized form and providing services to the users. Banks can have online access for verifications for this, which would eliminate fraudulent practices like forging of certificates and mark sheets. Similar schemes. The National Minority Development and Finance Corporation has an educational loan schemes for the individual beneficiaries, which is implemented through state channelizing agencies. The National Safek Kramcharis Finance and Development Corporation, National Backward Classes Finance and Development Corporation, National Scheduled Castes Finance and Development Corporation, and the National Handicapped Finance and Development Corporation under the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment also provide educational loan to the students of the target group for the higher education. Interest of educational loan provided under the educational loan schemes of these four corporations if the loan are for pursuing professional courses after 11th class shall also be subsidized for the period of marriage term as per the terms and conditions of this scheme. The interest charged by NMDFS, NSKFTC, NBCFTC, NSCFTC, and NHFTC are to be paid by government direct to the respective corporations. Bank. The scheme shall be implemented through Canara Bank, which is nodal bank for the Ministry of Human Resource Development. Modalities for implementation and monitoring shall be finalized in consultation with the Canara Bank. The scheme shall be applicable from the academic year 2009 to 10, starting 1st April 2009. The loan amount taken starting from the academic year 2009 to 10 shall only be covered under the scheme of interest subsidy. Interest on amount disbursed for courses starting before the academic year 2009 to 2010 wouldn't be considered for subsidy. List of technical professional courses. A list of technical professional courses for which the scheme shall be applicable shall be proved out by Ministry of Human Resource Development in consultation with the concerned ministry departments and the Indian Bank Association and public sector from time to time. As regards lists of accredited universities, institutions, and recognized professional courses, UGS and AICTE would immediately display the names of such institutions and courses in their websites, which may be accessed for verification purposes. In case of doubt, banks may approach UGC, AICTE, and other councils for clarifications, for which UGC, ICTE and other councils would be requested to create cells and identify nodal officers whom banks can approach for relevant information. Monitoring. A monitoring mechanism shall be evaluated by the Ministry of HRD to monitor the benefits acquiring to different categories of learners, such as scheduled casters, scheduled tribes, minorities, disabled, etc. Disbursement of interest subsidy claims. The disbursement of interest subsidy claims to the banks shall be half-yearly or yearly basis as decided by the Ministry of HRD, Government of India. Interest concession. Under the IBS scheme, 1% interest concession is provided for the loaners if the interest is serviced during the period when repayment holiday is specified for interest payment under the scheme. This 1% interest concession would be extended under the central scheme of interest subsidy, providing the Government of India this year's interest subsidy claims to the banks on half-yearly or yearly basis.